Hi, I'm Bill Hodges, and this is Spotlight on Government. And today, if you care about children, you want to watch this program. We have Kelley Parris with us, Children's Board Director for Hillsborough County.
Yes.
7 months now?
7 months. So
are you having fun?
I came in June. I am having fun, and the Children's Board's doing great work. So all the citizens of Hillsborough County can be proud of it.
Tell us what the Children's Board does.
Well, we fund community-level agencies that really do three things. I mean, we're concentrated on keeping children healthy, on keeping children developmentally on track, and supporting and having supportive families. So we want all of Hillsborough children to have access to programming and opportunities that help in their growth and development. We want to be able to make sure that we recognize any developmental problems early so that we can get them into services, and we want to build healthy communities.
I guess the old saying, how you going to do that, is the nut of the whole problem. You've mentioned some wonderful things and things we need to do with our children.
Yeah,
Let's take them one at a time and tell us how the Children's Board is impacting on each of those areas.
Well, first of all, we have given children access and opportunity. We have 6 family resource centers strategically placed across the county, and those family resource centers help families access services at every level. They also have developmental screenings for children. The other day I was at one in Brandon, and they actually had St. Joseph's Hospital, their mobile unit, which we fund part of that for children's immunizations to keep children immunized and healthy in the parking lot there. So these centers are placed all around the county, and any family that needs services can access those. As a matter of fact, I had a professor from FSU that came in the other day and said that she had had problems with one of her children, and that she had nowhere to turn, and she went to the resource center, and they sat down and played with her child, she said, for about 30 minutes, and said, you know, I think we got to get him tested for autism. And sure enough, it's changed their life. Yeah.
So somebody who was a professor at FSU?
Right.
So it's not limited to low-income people?
No. It's open access and opportunity for every citizen of Hillsborough County.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. And we have a wonderful program called My On Reader, and it is very unique for Hillsborough County. And we partner with the school system, we partner with the Housing Authority, United Way, and several other smaller partners. And it is an online library for children, and it's up to 8th grade reading level. Any child can access it. New mothers can access it if they want to read to their children. And it's got 5,000 plus books in this library.
Assuming they have a Kindle or a computer
phone
or something.
Yeah, a phone, anything like that. They can get to a library, they can get to a resource center. All of the Housing Authority areas have been wired for and can get My On Reader. So those children all have access, yes. And actually, Hillsborough County leads the nation on My On books read. So you've got, the children have read in a little over a year almost 4 million books.
4 million?
And opened almost 8 million. So yeah, and this is for public school, private school, home school, not in school students. But the neat thing about it is you can go on and it calculates what your reading level is. And then as you read more books, a child reads more books, you can watch their reading level go up.
Oh, really?
So
well, wait a minute, who can watch their
the parent or the child, or because it will show you the development of your reading level the more you read. So
when you sign in.
Right.
I mean, there isn't some group sitting over here watching to see who's reading at what level.
No.
So it's all privacy.
It's all privacy.
I guess that's the point I want to make.
Yes, all privacy. But I tell you what's pretty neat, I can go on the, not everybody can do this, but I can go on and look at where the children are reading books in Hillsborough County, and everywhere there's an open book in Hillsborough County, there's a light on the map. So I can see.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
We need a picture of that.
So we have all sorts of programs for supportive families. And I tell you, one that I'm really particularly proud of is one that A. Brown Ministries is running. Hillsborough County has the second or third highest incarcerated population in the state of Florida. And we really...
Of children? Or
No,
all?
of adult, yeah. And what we want to do is break that cycle of incarceration. So we don't necessarily want to break up families, and we know that regardless of the situation children are in or their parents are in, that children always love their parents. So A. Brown Ministries has a program to video visitation with children and their incarcerated mothers. And it's very moving to watch these children connect, and their mothers tell them, you know, don't do as I did, you've got to stay in school, you've got to stay on track, and I think this is really positive for these children not to be completely torn from their parents during this period of incarceration.
Oh, I think it's fabulous. Tell us how one avails themselves of it, or how does it work?
It's just internet access. And so we've got, you know, a camera and the parent on one end, the camera and the child and their caregivers on the other end with at A. Brown Ministries.
Sort of like Skype?
Sort of like Skype. And then what we're trying to do with all of our partners in the community is to take the partners and introduce them to the parents and to the caregivers. So when that parent moves from incarceration back into the community, there's some supports there from the family, because we know that that's a lot of pressure on that person moving back to get reacclimated to the free world, and also to get job and educational supports and that sort of thing. So I think this is going to go a long way to breaking that cycle down the road. We won't see it tomorrow, of course, but years from now we should be able to look at this program and say it was very successful in doing this.
So, as I'm understanding what you're saying, when people are released from captivity,
Right.
from jail, then there's programs that help them come back into the family unit?
Right, come back into the family unit. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on those children while that parent's incarcerated with that caregiver, and then there's a lot of pressure on that caregiver and that parent when they're released, because now who's going to parent? That caregiver is the one that has been the parent for quite a while now, so who is the parent?
I'm sorry, what you're saying sounds like a military family.
Yeah, yes it does, doesn't it?
Dad's off in the military war zone, mom's doing both dad and mom work.
Yeah.
Dad comes home and says, but I'm in charge now.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way.
Right, I've been doing this on my own for a while, yeah. So you can see those same dynamics that go on. That's exactly right. They're the same basic dynamics. So we want to make sure that those children stay healthy during that period and are well cared for.
So there are people upon release who will let these people know these facilities are available to them to help their children?
Yeah, we fund a program called Positive Spin that has very good track record of helping these families out. And a lot of people don't know the Children's Board per se, although we've been around 25 years. They do know the agencies we fund, whether it be Big Brothers Big Sisters, Champions for Children, the Children's Home, Positive Spin, Reach Up. They know these various agencies. They don't realize that their funding comes from the Children's Board. I think when Colleen Beavis, who was really instrumental in founding the Children's Board, passed away a month or so ago, that it really shined the light on the Children's Board again, and that we were developed and strategically sought to provide services just for children in Hillsborough County. Pinellas also has a sister agency. There are only 8 like us in Florida, and we actually come up for referendum to be reauthorized in 2016.
And this is a county function. So
This
there's
is a county
millage?
County millage. It's 0.4828, and we put about between $25 and $30 million into the county each year. Now we match that where we can with federal dollars. We put about $2 million into early childhood learning, and that is matched with federal dollars, and it comes back to be about $17 million to Hillsborough County. So these are flexible dollars that can be matched and leveraged to bring more federal dollars into our community. So the end result of that millage is really huge to the county, and a unsuccessful referendum would suck those millions right out of children's services in Hillsborough County without any method at all to replace it.
I personally think Florida's given too much money back to the federal government.
Right,
Really
right.
keeping some here would be a good idea.
Well, it's ours, so we need
Sure
to
it
bring
is.
as much back as we can, and there's no better cause than to bring it back for our children and families.
I think that I rarely quote someone as awful as Adolf Hitler, but he said, "Give me your children, you give me the world." And I think that's so very true. I mean,
Right.
blind hog has to find an acorn every once in a while. As bad
Exactly.
as Hitler was, that is the truth.
It is not only the truth, but we need business partners in the community also. We've been in communication with the Realtor Association. Realtors, the mission of the Realtors and the mission of the Children's Board are co-equal. You know, we want healthy families and healthy communities, and they want healthy families and healthy communities. So we're looking at ways to work together to support awareness and public education. I will say that we're going to kick off a huge campaign in partnership with Child Welfare, ECHRD, and some of our community partners, Healthy Start being one, at the first of the year to end child death from those preventable causes that only take education and public awareness to really eradicate them from our community, and that is unsafe sleep, drowning, and abusive head trauma. To date, we've had, last I checked, about 31 deaths of children in Hillsborough County. Now, only 6 of those children were known to child welfare. That means that all of them actually could be 100% preventable, but those other ones could be prevented through public awareness, training, and education. So we want to make sure that we keep our children alive and well to learn and be productive citizens.
And you know, it's probably the numbers that you have are probably just a drop in the bucket to what's actually happening out there.
Right.
I mean, drowning, okay, but head trauma and physical abuse, it's got to be a lot more prevalent than 31.
Well, you know, the thing about abusive head trauma, it takes so little bit of shaking of a baby to damage their brain. There's a wonderful resource out there that is a simulator doll that shows just what little bit of shaking it takes to damage
Really?
a child's brain. Yes, it's a wonderful tool, and just a little bit of shaking can affect a child's memory, his emotions, his eyesight, his hearing. And we don't know how many children that are sitting in juvenile services today are adjudicated delinquent have been shaken as a baby. I would say that if we looked in our juvenile jails and we could do some medical testing on those children, we would find that so many of them have had some brain damage at an early age.
Do you have any idea how many children there are in children's services today in correctional institutes just in this county?
I have no idea. I will say that. I was very, I tracked that, quite diligently in my previous job, but I have not. I am on, Commissioner Beckner has been very active with the committee on juvenile violence.
He's a great guy.
Yes,
I like Commissioner Beckner.
super guy. And he's pulled a collaborative together to look at that, and we are working on that. As a matter of fact, I'm chair of the committee, community involvement committee on that, and I think that we're going to come out with some, when this is all said and done, that we're going to come out with some very innovative ways to prevent juvenile delinquency. And that is to put more community programs in place, make sure that the evaluation and assessment of those children is done, and they get really targeted services to treat or to intervene on what's really wrong in their home or their community or their school.
I don't know what it is with kids, to be honest with you, but this is really near and dear to my heart because I came very close to being one of those statistics.
Right.
Grew up on the streets of Detroit. Had we not moved out of there at the right time, I could have easily ended up going to jail.
Right.
And it's just so important, the job you're doing. I hope everybody sees that.
Thank you. It only takes one person. You know, everybody has a role to play. Everybody can do something and intervene. I often have people say, what can I do? Well, you can do any little thing. Teach a child to knit, teach a child to crochet, spend time with them. take them to the park to a play. We've got programs in Sulphur Springs. We bring the children, where the programs bring the children to Tampa. They've never been to downtown Tampa before. I mean, you think that's, how could that be? It's very real.
No, we get into our own little zones.
Right, it's very
our
real.
turf.
Right. So mentor a child. If you can't give money, give time. Money's not the answer to everything. Time usually is a better answer than money to begin with. So there are lots of things out there that people can do and get involved and support children and families. Hillsborough County has an ever-increasing homeless situation. When I came on 7 months ago, I may have gotten a phone call a week about a homeless family. Sometimes today I get 3 a day. And the situation is becoming dire with less and less available affordable housing and more children and families not being able to access that. I don't know what role the Children's Board will play, but I assume that it's going to be something in the area of preventing the homelessness instead of intervening after it happens.
There's been a lot written in the Dayton paper, or Tampa.
Yeah.
That goes back a long way. Still go back to
I
Dayton, Ohio
that.
every once in a while. But there's been a lot written in the Tampa papers about substandard housing that the city's been paying for.
Right.
And you can imagine adults going into some of those places, but some of the places I've seen pictures of, I can't imagine someone taking a child.
Right. The boarding houses that they've been placing children and families is you know, not a healthy place for a child. We know that. So preventing it on the front end is probably going to be a bigger role for us in the planning process, helping with the planning process. So my hats are off to all of the volunteers and elected officials that are addressing this issue, because we've looked at cities that have done it well and been very successful, and looked at cities that haven't, and it's been a chronic problem with those that haven't.
In 7 months, what initiatives have you brought from your previous job to this one? In fact, let's talk about your previous position. You were in Alabama?
I was the director.
That's where that beautiful accent comes from?
Thank you. It serves you well if you play poker.
There you go.
I was the director of the Alabama Department of Child Abuse Prevention. And I think one of the most successful programs we had there was the End Child Death in the 0-3 age group from unsafe sleep and abusive head trauma. And we saw those numbers go down 54% over a 3-year period of time. And it was blanketing the state with education, public awareness, and training programs to prevent that. And, you know, I said something recently at a Rotary meeting or a Kiwanis meeting about the program, and they were talking about, you know, there were lots of older individuals in the area and that they didn't know if they would, you know, get behind the program as much as they did in Alabama. And as a matter of fact, the grandparents were just as interested, if not more interested, in keeping those children safe from unsafe sleep and abusive head trauma as the new parents were. So that's not true, and they will be interested, and they will be diligent about making sure their grandchildren are safe. So I look forward to that coming to Hillsborough County in a big way the first of the year.
Oh, I think you really ought to go down to Sun City Center and talk
Yes.
to those folks. They love children.
Yes.
I live down there, and we see children going to one of the stores or something. People make faces and smile at them. It's just, all of our grandchildren are 1,000 miles away.
I know, we get really silly, don't we?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I mean, those are lives we know we can save. I think the Mayan Reader has been wonderful.
I think it's a great idea.
For Hillsborough County. I mean, it's really amazing. We're the closest area to us is Arlington, Virginia, as far as children reading on Mayan, and that I think the next may be Oak Park, Illinois. But we're number one, so we're really proud of that. Accountability of us to the public and our partner agencies to the public has been number one on our list. of things to do internally, and we've really got a stringent evaluation process and budgeting process and looking at programmatic accountability. So we're really proud of that. This upcoming year, I think we have 53 programs in the community level that we funded. Now, they have sub-granted programs also, but our motto really should be that every child in Hillsborough County has equal access and opportunity to learning, to a healthy lifestyle, and to supportive families. So that's really what we're concentrating on.
Right.
It's a
Who
lot.
could argue with that, right?
It makes sense, and it sure builds healthy communities, and that's what we all want. We want to live in as crime-free atmosphere as we can possibly live in. We want children to be substance-free, adults drug-free. We want the schools to be good. The school system is a wonderful partner of the Children's Board, and we good partner of the school system, and if we are supporting them with specialized tutoring activities, or we're doing some after-school programs, we want our children to be active on all sorts of level, whether it be in the arts, the athletics, of course academics number one, and socially.
You mentioned partners.
Right.
What partners do you now have, or a sample of them, and what do you look for in the future in a partner? Who could help you?
Well, we have a vast array of community partners, and then we have the county as a partner. We are handling their $100,000 for them that's earmarked for domestic violence victims. So those are specialized services that other agencies in the county don't offer, that we can access through a administrative services organization program we have to provide for those victims and their children. We're looking at United Way as a partner. The school system is a grand partner of ours. We fund Metropolitan Ministries, which is the homeless shelter for
Yes,
families.
they do a really nice job from everything I've read about
They do a great job. And the school system, which is amazing to me, has a school on site there supporting those families and children, which I think is remarkable. We have something that's very unique called a business plan competition, and that is for social enterprise in Hillsborough County. Now, this year McDonald Training Center won that, and they are packaging medical, sterilized instruments for not instruments, but things for medical use, and they are a wonderful agency also. Before that, Metropolitan Ministries won it with Inside the Box, their cafe that they have downtown. So that's a $25,000 award, which for Metropolitan Ministries, they taught individuals how to cook. They let them participate in working in the business, so retrain them to get out socially and work in the working arena. So we're real proud of those things too, and anybody is welcome on an annual basis to submit for that business plan competition. So, but
any kind of company.
Yeah, it just needs to be a social related enterprise.
Okay. What about individuals? Are there any opportunities for individuals watching this program to be able to do anything to assist you? I assume helping you with your campaign.
Right, vote. We want everybody to know what the Children's Board does and get out and talk to your friends and neighbors about what we do and how supportive we are of children and families in Hillsborough County. But we have a Citizens Advisory Committee. If you're interested in that, you can go on our website and contact Joanne Cheshire. She's our public information person, and she will get you hooked up with the time and how to get involved with that committee. And of course, we have a volunteer board also, so anytime we have a board slot that comes open, we just have 3 new board members as of recent, but those come up on an annual basis. Usually we have a board member or 2 or more that come up for reappointment, so watch that. And
you actually, though, have some elected officials on that board,
we do.
correct?
There's some statutorily slots in there for the head of the school board, the head of child welfare, those type things. But there are also citizen slots too. I think there are 5 citizen slots on there and 4 appointed.
I really am excited about what you're bringing to the table here.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
If you had a wish list, and I'm sure you do, what would be the first or second thing on that wish list?
Well, I want to work with the county closer to solve all of Hillsborough County's problems, not just concentrating on the 0 to 8 problems, but work with the county on if just planning and putting our brain power to work from our partners and our staff and their partners and their
They've
staff.
got some great people.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But whatever we can bring to the table with the county, because life in Hillsborough County for children doesn't end at 8 or 12. It goes on till.
Do you partner
later.
with the city of Tampa also?
Well, I tell you what I'm participating in, and we're looking at ways to partner. I'm participating in the Mayor's Neighborhood University.
All right.
Yeah, I wanted to get a jump start on knowing the neighborhoods and the neighborhood leaders. So that has been a wonderful opportunity to get out there and know that when we find neighborhoods that we feel like need supports or gaps in services, we know exactly who to go to and who to call on for support.
This city of Tampa is like the big elephant sitting there. No matter what happens, we've got to keep them involved.
Right, right. We do have to keep them involved. I mean, we represent the entire county.
Exactly, of which they are
Yeah.
a major part.
Exactly, which they are the nucleus, yes.
Kelley Parris, Director of Children's Services for Hillsborough County, I am so excited that you're on the program today. You've brought to us a whole lot of new things that a lot of us didn't even know existed. And I'm sure if I gave you time, your wish list could go on, right?
It could. I've got angels on a tree that need to be adopted right now.
Unfortunately, we didn't even get to those angels. Unfortunately, we really don't have time to go on, but I'll offer the opportunity to come back, will you?
I would love it. Yes,
Love to
thank
have you back. Bring your wish list with you, and we'll talk about it then.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Bill Hodges. This is Spotlight on Government. You're unique, you're special, and you're great. Tell yourself so often, because you are, you know. And we'll see you on the next Spotlight on Government. Kelley Parris, thank you for being with us. We surely appreciate having you here.
Thank you for having me.